Sometimes the American West isn't in America at all. Sometimes it's on the other side of the world, or sometimes it's just plain hell on earth. It's a landscape that takes no prisoners, one built to outlast us all. Mysterious, dangerous, unrelenting, one you can get lost in, forgotten about. It's a haunting end to any species never meant to survive there. Because there's some places civilization just doesn't belong. It's Horses on Film.
Howdy, y'all. Welcome to episode 6 of Horses on Film. This is the podcast dedicated to determining the top 100 Westerns of all time. We're 6% through, or at least about to be 6% through this massive list. It's based on the IndieWire list that came out in 2024. They picked their top 100 Westerns of all time. We're going to take that, add to it, subtract from it, change the order around probably however we see fit, because we're crazy. We get what we want. And so thank you for joining us on our little journey through the American West. As always, I'm joined by my co-host, Dave Chapman, Scott MacArthur. Welcome. Good day.
Howdy. And Merry Christmas to all of our viewers.
Merry Christmas. This is airing December 22nd, and happy birthday, Dave.
Yay.
Thank you.
Yeah, so very exciting. And honestly, we randomized this list, and on top of that, we're airing every 2 weeks, which we weren't originally planned, and somehow a Christmas movie ended up airing on December 22nd. Yeah, it's
a movie that takes place at Christmas.
It's weird because down under it's warm. It's the middle of summer for their Christmas,
right?
So
Absolutely,
it never looks like Christmas down there.
But Christmas nonetheless, and a Western nonetheless, and here we are. Yeah. Scott, good to see you. We missed you last week.
I had to drive to Lethbridge and back. So
and our feature presentation was Blazing Saddles.
Yeah. I already give you. So I watched the episode. Fantastic episode, by the way. Good. I really, it was interesting, watching, because I tend to watch what we do, not knowing where this is going, and so it was oh, this must be what it feels like to be on the other side of the screen. I did write some notes.
I'd love to hear your thoughts on Blazing Saddles.
I gave my review already, but I'll save it for this little bit. So Cameron knows what I'm about to say on that note. Jeff was amazing.
I love Jeff.
Yeah. I think I've seen him before, which was the other side. My first note is I think he's wearing an Alice in Chains t-shirt, which is amazing.
It was I can't remember what it was, but I think it was a like a tongue-in-cheek joke shirt, I think, but I'd have to.
I love Alice in Chains.
It was a good one. Jeff's amazing. He makes these great, on his Etsy right now, he's got a Smells Like Teen Spirit shirt, but it's Spirit Halloween, and it's Kurt Cobain, in the Halloween. It's amazing. He makes amazing stuff, amazing comedy. He's all over the internet. He's amazing.
No, I really enjoyed hearing his thoughts, and actually, I'm literally made notes, which I never do.
Whoa!
And it says Alice in Chains shirt ? SNL joke swap. Love it every year. I have more notes about what you're. Horses on Film count. I think that was
all
right.
Horses, yeah. That's.
Pablo Goes West is amazing. That's a Western that I don't think gets talked about enough. I think I brought it up once, but after.
Yeah, and I definitely saw that in the theater when I was a kid, and I remember being so excited to see like a Western cartoon. It was a big deal.
Louise, like, so good.
Yeah. Big
Slim Pickens, actually, while I was watching Blazing Saddles, when's the last time we had someone have like a jokey-ish name like that? Like as an actor.
Yeah, there's a lot. Yeah,
we don't really do that anymore.
Not often.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of modern day kind of ironic, hilarious name. There's a lot of them in baseball.
Oh yeah,
baseball has good names, but maybe not so much in the movies.
I found myself on a rewatch thinking that if Gene Wilder wasn't on screen, I wasn't enjoying my time. And that was a weird feeling because I'm like, it's Mel Brooks. It's Mel Brooks. I have to like this. It's Mel Brooks.
Mm-hmm.
And I found myself the scene where they're pulling the horse cart out or the train cart out and leaving the two guys in the quicksand.
Yeah.
Funny. Like I actually like, and like I think you mentioned on the podcast, like the stop taking a break, let's go.
Like breaks over.
Yeah. Breaks over. I love I love that how it depicted the we're the smartest people in the room. It kind of, and I really like that. But I did find myself, and this is the same thing I've said more than once, which is the editing is better on this, but not like I do feel things get better, like camera technology, editing techniques, how we act, sound mixing, and there's a good chance that like, and I don't want someone to remake this. I do not, but I feel like that's where I keep being held up on these. Of the older films we watched,
right?
I do like it a lot more than others. My score will not reflect that, but I gave it a 2.5 out of 5.
Okay. Well, that's what I had it on Letterboxd prior to the rewatches for this. I bumped it up to 3 for this. I think 2.5 is very fair, and I think it was even Jeff that mentioned it kind of played a little bit like a 70s sketch comedy kind of scene, and I had the pacing of that older style.
Yeah, I have Jeff's response on race relations is actually written down.
Yeah,
because I think he's right. I actually
nailed it. He nailed it.
Yeah, and humor is spot on. Jeff's that's actually on my notes. But I love the film. Like I wanted to like it more, I think. And what we're gonna find, I rewatched The Proposition about 3 hours ago. Mm-hmm. I've seen it tons of times, but I found myself finding more out of it now that I find with Blazing Saddles, I got less out of it.
Oh, interesting.
And that was I'm worried. I haven't watched Spaceballs in a while, and I love Spaceballs, and I'm worried.
We talked a lot about Spaceballs too, and yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to see where on rewatching Spaceballs, I think it still holds up, but I am excited to see what they do with the new one.
The sequel. Oh yeah,
and Dave, you pointed out that like the History of the World Part 2 on TV wasn't great.
Not great.
So, well, we just kind of have to keep an open mind.
That being said, and Scott saying it doesn't want to remake it. Paws of Fury, I went and watched after we recorded our episode, which is a remake of Blazing Saddles, and it's great.
I have to. I remember the trailers and stuff, but I never. I got two episodes into History of the World Part 2 and went, oh, I don't think they get it.
Yeah, I don't think I got past about the same point.
Yeah, I think it was 2 or 3 episodes in. I couldn't do anymore. I just stopped watching. But I'm glad you like Paws of Fury. That's really that makes me happy that we kind of discovered something in the recording.
I've discovered a lot through this show. That's
good.
Horses on Film is bringing people together.
Yeah, it's all about connecting, and it's the friends we made along the way.
Exactly. As you ride off into the sunset.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
So with your 2.5, I did the math before, and that brings us up to a rating of 14 out of 20, exactly 3.5 out of 5 on average. That ties it with Rio Bravo, but I'm putting it ahead of Rio Bravo on the list because All the Horses is the tiebreaker. It was our first All the Horses.
Oh, I like that.
I think that gives you a little tie break bonus point. So it's sitting in third spot out of 5. So on our Letterboxd top 4, you'll notice 5th place will now be bumped off there finally. So as we go, that top 4 is going to change with who we have.
I know you're saying that's the tiebreaker, but in my head, it will be Gene Wilder.
Yeah, and Gene Wilder for sure, and Cleavon Little, and there's just so much.
Like
even I was a little lukewarm going into it, thinking, oh, is this still going to be funny and stuff? But I rewatched it a few times. I watched a few other kind of Western comedies, and in the end, I like I said, I really feel this Blazing Saddles belongs on this list.
Oh,
if we're going to do a list like this, it's going to be on there. Where it ranks, we'll see. But it's pretty. I don't know what the word is. Seminal. Like it's pretty kind of
foundation-ish.
It's a foundational, satire, comedy Western, 70s Western. And like we said, a lot of our, spoof and comedy is a lot of our window into certain things that we don't normally know. And I think that Blazing Saddles spoofed its way, laughed its way into people's hearts in a way that now they're Western fans, or possibly they'd watch a few more Westerns or more Western comedies at the very least because of Blazing Saddles. So
I want to give honorable mention to the popcorn. I really love that gag.
That was really great. How he still
and then we see him with it in back.
Yeah.
Just like it was so good. I actually really
taking the limo at the end and everything. It's so well done. All right. Well, this is our first non-American movie today. There are a few on the list that are not American movies. There's, like we said, a Korean, Italian, all over the place. This is our only Australian movie. Dave, what's your history with Australian cinema? Have you seen any other Australian Westerns or Australian movies?
Not that I can think of. Most of my, pop culture, quote unquote, from Australia comes from either like tween comedy shows like H2O, and not that I'm watching, but that my roommate loves.
Right.
And a lot of radio dramas. They had a very strong radio drama culture there for a while.
Yeah.
And so a lot of those episodes still exist and get reshared through other podcasts and whatnot. But those tend to take place not in Australia.
Right. Yes.
Well, so I wrote down for Australian film.
Yeah.
The Matrix.
Okay.
Because it was all filmed there, but
true.
The Mad Max series.
True.
And the big one, probably, if you haven't seen it, a lot of people haven't. It's called Rabbit Proof Fence.
Yeah. Yeah. Very good.
So when I lived down there, they had a screening at a museum, and you sat in a smaller school bus that they had put in the museum, and you watch this movie, and at the end they go, "Hey, this was actually one of the buses they used to collect these children," and everyone just kind of went, "Oh no!"
Oof.
And it would hit hard. Like the movie is not like this movie is rough. Like it is a. I can understand why people don't want what we're about to talk about, but this one hits on a different level.
Oh, it's like a Holocaust, Yeah,
yeah. It's the colonialism and the of Australia, and here in Canada we have it, but it felt like down there they were like, okay, cool, we tried it here, let's do it again. But now take the lessons we've learned of the pushback and do it was. It's all bad, but if it could be worse, it was worse.
It's amazing too, because now that's such a heavy movie. This is such a heavy movie. Mm-hmm. My intro into Australian cinema was definitely Crocodile Dundee.
Oh yeah,
and then Yahoo Serious.
Oh yeah,
there's a great joke in The Simpsons where it's the Yahoo Serious Film Festival, and she's like, "None of those words. I know all those words, but together they don't make sense."
Like Ned Kelly and stuff.
Yeah, Reckless Kelly, which is one of the many adaptations of the Ned Kelly story, and this is Proposition is sort of akin to that kind of outlaw story. We'll get into that, but yeah, and then there was a movie with Noah Taylor who's in this called He Died with a Falafel in His Hand, which I randomly rented one night, and it's kind of about you'd probably love it, Scott, because it's about people living in Australia in these houses where they're share houses.
Yeah, that's really common down there.
Yeah, young people sharing a house together in Australia, and it's kind of dark, and they talk a lot about Nick Cave in it, and it's very, very good. And then Baby Teeth came out a few years ago. It was kind of a big deal when it came out, and then I worked with Justin Kurzel on the Order, so one of his films, Nitram, which is a Tasmanian film, is beautiful. It's a really interesting study into kind of the one mass shooting that kind of
Port Harbor,
legislation.
I'm pretty sure Port Harbor or Coffs Harbor. I can't remember which one.
It was so. Australian cinema was kind of always around, and then on top of that, do we count Star Wars Episode 1? Because
so I lived in Sydney, and in the center of Sydney is Fox Studios. It's like Central Park is to New York.
Yeah,
the city has grown around it, and they film so much there. Mm-hmm. Like I said, like The Matrix. More than once, I'd be like walking, and I'm like, "Oh, it's the bridge from when they pulled the thing out of Neo in the car," or like it's the fountain from the red. Or like it's Sydney is the Matrix. Like when you don't realize that sentence until you're in it. I was at a dinner party down there once, and they were talking about Nick Cave, and I was like, I have no clue who that was. Yeah, I was down there in like 2008 to 2012, okay. And they're like, you don't know who it is? And I'm like, no, I have no clue who that is. And I feel like unless you went and found Nick Cave, it was Red Right Hand from Peaky Blinders, I think is the big one that really like, because that's one of his songs that really put him on the map outside. It's the same as like the Tragically Hip for us Canadians. And you travel around and no one knows who that is.
Like, or you can show them the one time they were on SNL and they're like, oh, okay, I remember this song or whatever, but it's not as ingrained in their culture the way it is in ours.
And it's just like there's certain, and Nick Cave is so Australian that they were almost dumb. It'd be, again, asking a Canadian not knowing who Tragically Hip is. And you're like, who are you? Like, where are you from? Like,
and Nick Cave is the reason why I watched this movie. Because I wasn't a massive Nick Cave fan, but I remember seeing Nick Cave on I think it was Letterman, and he was singing with the McGarrigle sisters, who are Rufus Wainwright's mom and aunt, and I was a big Rufus Wainwright fan, and so it all kind of connected. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna start listening to Nick Cave more. And then when that would have been 2000, so then 5 years later when this came out, I was pretty excited that Nick Cave wrote a movie, and I wanted to get at it right away. Now, I don't know if it aired in the theater here. I certainly remember it.
I looked. It had a release, but it was a limited release.
Yeah, I don't know if I caught it in the theater. I do think I saw it. Well, I bought it on DVD the day it came out.
Yeah,
that's as quick as I could see it. I'm sure, unless. I'm pretty sure I didn't see it in the theater here. But
I would be surprised. I don't know that there was a Canadian release.
Well,
there was definitely an American release.
Yeah, the Metro up here tends to show like smaller released films. So I got a feeling like one night it would have came through, and then like if you didn't know, you missed it. The Cineplex North showed The Fountain, but they were like The Fountain got such a small release that I had to like go across the water here in Edmonton to go see it. But
that see that in the theater.
Oh, that's a whole nother discussion.
Yeah, that's the season 2 of this.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's start our feature presentation. We got a great guest standing by, so
we'll put this thing up. We'll put up the right art this time. We'll put on some mood music. Let's click that and click that. In the 1880s Australia, a lawman offers renegade Charlie Burns a difficult choice. In order to save his younger brother from the gallows, Charlie must hunt down and kill his older brother, who is wanted for rape and murder. Venturing into one of the Outback's most inhospitable regions, Charlie faces a terrible moral dilemma that can only end in violence.
Yes, that is The Proposition, 2005, directed by John Hillcoat. He's a music video director mainly. I think I first kind of realized who he was because he directed some Elvis Costello music videos. Then he also made The Road, Cormac McCarthy, The Road, and Lawless. And Lawless is almost a Western. It's kind of bootleggers. It's pretty Western adjacent. Written by Nick Cave, of course, from Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds. He first conceived it as a ballad because he was first hired to do the music for it. And then him and his longtime collaborator, John Hillcoat, kind of went back and forth on ideas. And then finally he was like, why don't you just write this? And he wrote it in about 3 weeks. And I mean, it's a great screenplay. It stars Guy Pearce, Ray Winstone, Danny Houston, John Hurt, David Wenham, and Emily Watson at the height of her power. It was filmed in late 2004 in Winton, Queensland, Australia, which is apparently, according to the sign in the town, the birthplace of Qantas. Yes. Music was Nick Cave, violin, and the violinist Warren Ellis. They also did the score for Hell or High Water, which is one that we talk about here a lot. Awesome. And another movie that I will talk about if I ever get the chance, and maybe this is the episode, is The Assassination of Jesse James by the coward Robert Ford. Also shot here in Calgary. Underrated, very, very good Western, very beautiful. The Proposition was nominated for 11 Australian Academy Awards. It won 4 Best Cinematography, Musical Score, Production Design, and Costumes. And all the costumes were period correct and handmade right down to the buttons. But this is a movie conceived as music, driven by the composer. So I thought it was only fitting to bring in filmmaker, music maker, composer of our theme song, Brett Alec Bailey. Welcome.
Hey.
Welcome to Horses on Film, Brett. Thank you again for a beautiful theme song.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for having me do that.
Yeah, no, it's one thing I know that we work together in film, but I know music is a passion of yours. And I was really, really glad that not only did you get it to me so quickly, you did a beautiful job. And it really sets the tone, especially for Dave's cinematic synopsises.
Thank you so much. And also, if I'll be completely honest, I was like, oh, I think I'm way over, I'm not prepared to make a country song for you. I usually make digital stuff, but I'm happy how it turned out. And here we are.
Yeah. Thank you very much. I'm glad we pulled you out of the electronic world and into the Wild West.
Transported. As you see my background.
Absolutely.
I chose an Australian setting, so
I'm looking forward to your fusion album.
Yeah.
Country electro. So
gonna change your whole sound now.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm excited now.
Yeah. So what's your history with this film? Had you seen it before I reached out to you for this?
I hadn't seen it before, but now I've seen it twice. I watched it about half an hour before we started. But yeah, it did surprise me. It wasn't what I expected.
Yeah, it's pretty violent and pretty authentic. It was one of those things. Australia is a little bit conservative with the views of their own history. And so basically it's an Australian Western, it's referred to as a meat pie Western, akin to a spaghetti Western. We call it a meat pie or a kangaroo Western sometimes. The very first feature film ever made was the story of the Kelly Gang, 1906. It was 70 minutes. So that's much longer than like the Great Train Robbery or anything like that. And it was it was called a bushranger film. Bushranger is like their term for an outlaw. And so it was about the story of Ned Kelly, who was kind of a folklorish Robin Hood-esque outlaw. And they made a few of them in a really short amount of time. But then in 1911, 1912, 3 different state governments made them illegal, basically saying these bushranger movies, if kids grow up watching these movies, it's the wrong vision of Australia that we want to put out there. So they made them illegal. That actually went for a lot longer than you'd think. And it took a while before they got back into telling those stories again. Ned Kelly with Mick Jagger and stuff in the 70s. And eventually now it's funny because to me, this is one of the most famous Australian films. It's certainly one with one of the widest reaches, and it's very gritty, very truthful, it's a tough watch. It's a tough watch. How about you, Dave? What did you think?
Unflinching would be the word for it. It is, like you said, brutally honest and just, unflinching in its presentation. It knows what it's trying to do, the story it's trying to tell, and it is cinematically stellar. It is aside from the violence, it is a beautiful film to watch.
Yeah, even with the flies buzzing on them,
That's just how it is down there. That was the one thing I was like, I got that detail right.
Yeah. I don't think they had much choice about that detail.
No, they had every detail right from what I hear.
Do you think they had a fly wrangler?
They did have a fly wrangler.
No flies were harmed on the making of this film.
I've worked on a couple scenes where we've had to have a fly wrangler, and I make the same joke every time. I say, "Oh, what do you use for a leash on those?" And every time it ruins it, because every time they're like, "Oh, sometimes a little bit of monofilament," and it's like, "Oh, okay, never mind." They really do sometimes. Like if you need them kind of around a certain, quote unquote dead body, they'll tether them a little bit, and they'll be. These ones were pretty authentic, pretty real, and they were all over everything, weren't they?
Yeah.
So Scott, you've brought this one up a lot. You brought this up in the first episode.
When the brothel lady, mistress is like, he deserves whipping, and I said the proposition's like flogging scene is what I had in my head, and I was like, and it's funny because I hadn't seen Unforgiven in a while when we were watching that, but I'd seen the proposition more recently, and the minute that word hits, almost anything now, it's all I picture is the whip, the flog, and them. Oh, it's
the way the blood when he puts it onto what's his name's shirt and just
like the mayor guy. Yeah,
it was like wow.
No, and it's that like Macbeth, like I can't get the blood out. Like it's
and even the way the crowd is watching this, and they're so thirsty for it at the beginning. Like there's a few of these movies where the mob or the crowd or the townsfolk, they're really thirsty for a hanging or thirsty for a whipping, but then as it went on, even in the 40s and 50s, people were wandering out and like feeling uneasy, fainting.
It's the scene where the doctor is patching his back. I was talking about this and so just before that, the scene, and I think that's the key scene, because the film changes after that. You have Ray Winston battering down the house because he knows like this news is going to get back, and the deal and I think it's a fair deal. That's the other side of it. Like it's a heinous thing, but he goes, look, I understand Mikey had nothing to do with this. Like you can even say the movie starts off with okay. So when I think of Westerns, I think of this. Western genre has a tendency to like hero, like, like we're the good guys versus the bad guys, where even the outlaws are like, like this is like, no, this is the way it is. This is the heat of Western films. This is the Saving Private Ryan of Western films. This is we're not holding back. We're not glorifying this. This is, and it's like, and so you start on the shootout, you move to the proposition, and then it goes. And, but there's the scene where they're just about to flog the Mikey. and they're lion taming. They're like doing the whole like, we can't wait to hurt you and we're scaring you. And then the doctor patches him up, and he looks up like, you monsters. And the camera pulls through the bars, and they're sullen, head down, like, oh, we caught the car and this is not what we wanted. Like, you can, and the town changes and everything changes from this moment. Which
even
makes
I felt that jail cell felt more like a zoo. You know, the way the curved roof and the sand, it really felt like he was an animal on display. You know,
and they reinforce it. That's the other side.
I mean,
You can feel this scene. It's on your skin. You don't. I don't know if there's any other scene in cinema that I felt like I needed to wash up afterwards. Like, it's so
raw.
It sticks on you. And like Brett, like you said, you hadn't watched it before, but you will never forget this.
Yeah, it like I thought about this. I think I watched it probably 2 weeks ago, but that one scene really, like, I was like trying to go to bed and I was thinking about it and I was like, oh, can't get that out of my head. But the other thing that kind of pulled me back and forth was, like, I was trying to tell, as you said earlier, is this person good? Is this person bad? And you're not really given the full story from the start. You're just kind of presented with, like, this person raped a woman. But as it progresses and then you see the flogging, you end up, almost humanizing him a bit more. And then you're like, do I want this guy to get hung? He did a horrible thing. And I was a bit conflicted of thinking of who each character was.
Yeah, and it's kind of unclear too, maybe at least to me, what him and like Mikey and Charlie, they say they don't ride with Arthur anymore, but it sounds like they weren't involved in this one particular.
And Mikey doesn't have a gun in the beginning shootout. He's just there. I honestly feel like it's guilt by association.
Yeah.
Right. So
he's the brunt.
From your point of view, then it does feel like a fair trade, because Arthur is a wanted criminal monster who probably should be hanged or killed by a bounty hunter or whatever. He's wanted dead or alive. So the idea of offering this under the table deal, like, it's certainly not the State Department or the Justice Department offering this deal. This is a personal grudge, I think, between Ray Winstone's character, I think it's Stanley, Captain Stanley.
Danny Houston.
And Danny Houston, who is Western royalty, because of course his father, John Houston, directs a lot of these, and his half sister Angelica Houston is Hollywood royalty. And so he's fantastic. He's so poetic, and so, like, I think a lot of this movie is talking about civilization and where civilization belongs and where it doesn't belong, and what can be tamed. And even though he's so civilized, he, like this land, can never be tamed, I think.
I'd like to point out we're 33 minutes in and we haven't mentioned John Hurt yet. Like he just shows up. Like, it's like, and he's fantastic. Like that. Oh, like, it's John Hurt. Like, it's
at his most insane. And that those scenes, where he's quoting Charles Darwin, I think kind of misquoting the wrong book, but still kind of quoting these ideas about Charles Darwin and the idea that there was this real separation of race in a very ugly way at the time in Australia. And it's something they've really had to, one of the reasons why when they first went to make this movie, they ran into everything you'd run into making an independent film. But at one point they almost had to shoot in South Africa because the government of Australia didn't want them to tell this story. And then for them to kind of bring the Aboriginals into the fold, they had consultants on set. They, at times there was only a 10-meter radius that they were allowed to move about on set because their cultural advisor was saying, this is sacred land. it was the first movie in Australian history to have an actual contract with the Aboriginal groups.
It has a disclaimer at the beginning.
Right.
Of all the movies we've watched, of all the movies I've maybe watched in general, it has a disclaimer being like, look, we want to let everyone know that we are trying to honor this period and these people as best as this time period would let us.
Mm-hmm.
I paused it and showed my partner, and I was like, look, I never noticed this before because I'm always into the film, but yeah, it comes up. It's 2 lines, and I was really, it changes the context once you see that, I think.
And the photos at the beginning are very powerful too, of you know, seeing them actually back in the day and how accurately they got the whole look of everything. Like, it's powerful.
Yeah, they really, from a production design standpoint, costumes, settings, some of these legendary Aboriginal actors that show up in here, even like Leah Purcell, who's in her own right a director now, and yeah, the way it honors these types of stories that they've been trying to tell for a long time, and they finally kind of can really tell them. Yeah.
No, it's a rough film. I'm not gonna like sugarcoat that for anyone.
Yeah, the one thing, or maybe it was Scott mentioned earlier too. It was shot. It's set over Christmas, but also shot right at the end of the year too. I think the other thing they ran into was securing finance, pushed them just a little bit deeper into the summer, which is why the weather and some of the extremes were so visible and unbearable. They kind of missed their window on that bearable shooting weather.
The summer down there, like it's my first Christmas down there was I was cooking a ham, and the people were coming over, and they're like, "Why do you have the oven on?" I was like, "What do you mean?" They're like, "No, you cook it yesterday, you serve it cold today, because all these bodies are going to warm up the house. It's 45 degrees out, and you have the oven on." And I'm just in my Canadian brain being like, "No, it's minus 30." And and we're like, it's like that. I'm just doing like, it's the middle of summer down there. It's because it's the southern hemisphere, and it's 40, 48 degrees between there. It's unbearable for like how we get that cold snap here for like 2 weeks. They get that hot, like, and you just like lay on the tile floor hoping that it'll go away. And then at night, overnight, it's like plus 35. Like, you're like, it doesn't stop for 2 weeks.
I have friends and family that have lived in hot climates, and it's a very similar struggle to living in, cold climates. Calgary's, usually we get our Chinooks, we stay pretty temperate through the winter, but there's always that week where it's minus 30 or minus 25, and you got to start your car, but it's the same thing there. You got to run the AC, or else the steering wheel's lava, and it's sort of that same thing. I think Canadians and Australians have a lot in common. They're kind of Canadians with a suntan, is the joke we make, and they, it's that thing that the actual land you live in is trying to kill you at all times. And I think it's what develops our sensibilities, our sense of humor, our perspective on things. I think Australians and Canadians are very similar.
I think because we're so busy fighting the elements, that we find humor between us as much as possible.
Yeah, it bonds us as a people.
It's just funny because between the Blue Jays and how's the weather, that's like, you can talk to anyone with those two things.
Yeah, hockey. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Edmonton, or we'll get
Brett. Brett, had you seen any other westerns from this list prior to this?
I actually haven't.
Okay.
I'm so sorry. I've been so busy working on a new film. It's a time period one back in the 50s called A Long Winter. And it's just been so busy that I haven't had much time to watch. And sorry, I think, Scott, when you were like, "Oh, did you watch it?" Because it's kind of hard to find a link for it. I thought you were talking about The Proposition.
Yeah, but, it is. No, it's hard to find. If you're 100%. Like it's
one of those streams sometimes, but not all the time, depending on where you are in the world. Yeah.
Well, I'm going to catch up. Like I'm probably going to watch them after this. So.
Phil, you and I are in the same boat. I came into this being like, I've seen like 10 of these movies, and they're like, There Will Be Blood, like the more mainstream ones.
Mm-hmm.
And then you like, don't feel bad about it. Like we're on this journey together, I guess.
Yeah, and the only reason why I asked, not to put you on the spot, but I wonder where you think it fits and where you guys think it fits, kind of like an Unforgiven kind of story. It's a little bit in that vein of Unforgiven at times, except that maybe no one loses their nerve to kill. Where there's another Australian film that I watched leading up to this called The Nightingale. Have you guys ever seen The Nightingale?
I'll write that down.
It's an Australian film and actually set in Tasmania. It's a Tasmanian film, and it's again a kind of a revenge story at the beginning. This Irish criminal or like convict is living in the British camp and being mistreated, and the one captain is kind of obsessed with her. There's a rape, there's a murder, her baby is murdered, and then they take off. That army, that small little kind of group of army guys, take off to try to get to his new posting at another town, and they kind of have to get there before the news that there's been mischief. So that he can take his role and be kind of respected in that new town. She sets off with a tracker across it's not so much the outback, it's really the wilderness in Tasmania. It's very thick, green. I saw a map of Australia that kind of said, like, gave it North America perspective. And for Tasmania, they said it's Oregon.
That'd be about right.
Yeah, it's kind of untamed, very lush, very green. And so they take off across there to try to kill these guys before they can get to the posting. It's a very good movie. My only complaint is that it's maybe a little too long, but extremely well acted. And that same level, like, I think if you took The Proposition and The Nightingale and pushed them into one movie, it's Unforgiven.
Yeah.
I like the term mischief for like being the nicest way I've ever heard. Like, you just described some of the worst we do to each other. And you're like, oh, it's kind of the boy mischief.
Yeah, boys will be boys.
Yeah, locker room talk kind of stuff, right? And I'm like,
horrible mistreatment. There's a few. I mentioned Leah Purcell directed a movie. It's kind of got a long title.
The Assassination of Jesse.
No. I don't have it on here, I think, but I did watch The Chant of Jimmy Blacksmith, which is kind of really a story, an Aboriginal story from 1976, where the young Aboriginal man is trying to fit in with civilization and really earnestly trying, and they just beat him down and beat him down and beat him down over and over again until he just kind of can't take it anymore, and he snaps in a very violent way. And I think that was one movie they looked at when they were doing this, when they were kind of lining up that relationship with the Aboriginal side of the story. But I think they wanted to do it just a little bit more justice and not come across as violent. The Leah Purcell is called The Drover's Wife: The Legend of Molly Johnson. Wasn't my favorite, but again had a lot of these same themes of like race and violence, to the point where you're protecting yourself, but also the consequences of said violence. I also mentioned the Ned Kelly storyline. I think I saw there's been like 26 different adaptations of the Ned Kelly storyline, right from 1906 right up to recently. The True History of the Kelly Gang is another Justin Kurzel. Again, I think qualifies as a meat pie Western, a beautiful Australian Western. Maybe not quite good enough for this list or anything, But I think if you're talking on, if there's one Australian movie on this list, it's The Proposition. I think.
Yeah. I found that The Nightingale was actually, I was thinking of that movie and how parallel it is and just how raw and kind of shocking. I was thinking about it. It almost seems like this is a tale of survival where everyone's trying to cover their own ends and, are becoming paranoid and trying to do whatever they can to survive. But I think it's also a tale of morality. Because I don't know, can I say the spoilers of?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Like at the end when Charlie's just like, you know what, I'm the one that deserves to live, and I think the captain sees that as him taking out his two brothers when you never expected that, and it is like, I need to do the right thing. I need to correct this.
Yeah, what do we think about the decision Charlie makes at the end, and even kind of the quiet, contemplative way that Arthur takes the betrayal?
So there's the scene where, and you see it just after the flogging scene. You got the Ray Winston is battering down the hatches because he knows what's coming. Danny Winston, Arthur is Danny Houston is burning all the books and getting ready, and then he goes and he catches the sergeant off guard, and that's so that scene when he takes him into the stables tells you everything you need to know about the three brothers. You've had it by then. You have Mikey, who the minute he's put in the cage, every time you see him, he's sunken and swollen. This is not a man, like he's exactly like that man could not do this. Mm-hmm. He doesn't have it in him. And then you have Guy Pearce, Charlie, who has a pragmatic way about his whole arc. And he goes, look, Mikey, you're going to be okay. And then deal comes, we're going to make this happen. And then Arthur shows that he's brutal, and you can see it in the sergeant's eyes the minute that he realizes what's about to happen. And it's if you shoot me, more are going to come. He goes, oh, cool, I'll just carve you up instead. Like it's just like, and then he beats his head in with his boot. Like that is brutal. That is personal. Not a gun is impersonal. You're far away. I'm shooting. Like it's not a bayonet is in your face, but whatever. But to physically, my body is taking out your body. That is hate and loathing. And that says Arthur did this to me. Yeah. We don't know for sure, but he did it. And it's that one scene that seals it for me.
Yeah. We talked last episode about these cartoony villains, from Blazing Saddles, and how absolutely like over the top and cartoony they were as villains. And you do see that in Westerns too, where there's, the real, villain. Yeah, but this
to the train tracks.
Yeah, Danny Houston is a monster in this movie. It's really true evil.
No, everything I ever see him in, this is what I see. I see Arthur, and then I every once in a while you got like an actor who can do both sides and whatever. Mm-hmm. Like I never, if you were to ever play Superman, I'm like, no, this isn't right. like this is, we live in the alternate universe now. Like
he's sort of one of those guys. He's great in everything. There's a movie called Birth where he plays Nicole Kidman's new husband to be. And then a young boy shows up out of nowhere claiming to be her dead husband reincarnated. A beautiful movie. Nicole Kidman, absolutely outstanding in that movie. And Danny Houston is the one person in it that really gets to lose his temper and really gets to be a little bit like, what are we talking about here? This 10-year-old boy. And he, like, at one point he grabs the kid and spanks him and calls him like a bad kid, and it's a really, in an otherwise kind of slow and pretty movie, it's a really ugly scene, and I think he's very willing to go ugly in these movies.
He's one of the few actors who yells quietly, who calmly will strip you down, and you will not, like, you're watching this being like, this is maybe the most like he's in my face, he's yelling, he is so angry, and he's just talking just like this.
Spooky.
And it's those, that is a villain.
Aura.
And yeah, aura is a great word.
He's got that. Yeah, it's a real spooky quality.
Yeah. He showed up in a TV series called Magic City across from Jeffrey Dean Morgan's, where and he played the villain role. And it's a lot of like, my aura is enough, I don't need to show you. Everyone is scared of me, and you don't know why, but everyone else is selling this. It's the same as Clint Eastwood in The Tavern, when they find out who he is. Very similar.
Yeah, when he really has to prove, not has to prove, but just really shows he's the real deal. And I think Arthur is the real deal. And I think even Charlie knew, because I think at that point, the deal's off the table. The proposition is off the table. Charlie will probably, if he's ever caught, he'll probably be blamed for whatever happened, unless perhaps Stanley survives. Perhaps, obviously, the wife would maybe vouch for him, Emily Watson, who's incredible in this. We haven't talked about her yet, but she's incredible in this. The idea, I mean, this English rose in the middle of this horrific hell on earth landscape, and everybody's so taken by her. It's very interesting, and I don't know if it's a soldier thing or a guy thing, but everyone was really thirsty for this young lady. It's wild how like
they dress her and they film her and they do all this as the other. They even other themselves from the townsfolk. They're on the edge. She's always in the nicest, and I don't know how they do it, but she glows. Up until the flogging scene, she glows. The scene where she's asking for a turkey for Christmas, that's one of the few female interactions, woman interactions in the whole movie, and you can just, she's different. She's shot different. She's shown different. She speaks different. She is different, and they treat her as the other, even though, for the most part, and I think that's why the crime, the initial crime is so, because she's like, I finally connected with someone. I finally someone, because the captain is distanced from her because I don't think he wants to be there. He doesn't want to be there. He's sent there. This is orders. She comes. She's attached to him. This is a thing. This is a mission. This is Tom Hanks trying to get Matt Damon so they can go home. Like it's very much like, and the minute she makes a connection, it's taken from her. And that's like, this movie works on so many levels. Like,
one thing that really stood out for me just before we get to our ratings and whatnot was the music. Knowing that Nick Cave is a musician and did both the screenplay and the score, it was haunting and it was perfect.
Yeah, well, I'd like to know, Brad, what did you think of the music in this too?
I mean, it was like, just even the intro was so classic sounding, and the melody really kind of, it really hooked onto how do I describe it? Like it did have kind of a haunting sound throughout it, which obviously, if you wrote the entire story based on just a ballad, I always go back to the flogging scene, but just when he was what's his name was singing that song in the two different areas, it was just like, it transcended what you could even think about it. It just kind of rocked you to your core. The music was fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, I think the music really drives this story in many ways, and like you said, he was writing it for the music, and then he took over the script, and I think that it shows that there's certain scenes that really exist to showcase
how beautiful the music is and the scenery, and it all blends together so perfectly. And yeah, I thought Samuel had a voice of an angel there, and even Arthur kind of kept him around for that reason. He kind of, even in the scene where Charlie comes in and it's just this atrocity, he still remarks that his voice, he sounds like a nightingale, or
he could shame a nightingale.
He could shame a nightingale, and it goes to show how poetic and otherworldly and horrible Arthur was. He just was so disconnected from the humanity of the whole thing.
When we're first introduced to him, it's books and the art on the walls. Like they introduce him almost as a scholar before we even, because we were, the fable of him is violence. The first introduction is literature and art, and then he's even like shown calm. We have a group, we are a family together, we're doing this in the stable scene, and that's like no, town folks are right. No, he's no wolf in sheep's clothing.
Civilizing, bringing in civilization is a violent act, and especially in Australia, especially in the American West, in Canada, that every time you bring civilization into an untamed land, it's a violent act against the people. It's setting them up for violent acts in retribution. It's you're taming the land in a violent way. Even when you break a horse, when you're taming a horse, they call it breaking a horse. And it's that idea of taming something is violent and aggressive and dangerous. I think that's kind of the core of this movie. Speaking of horses, let's do our horses on film count. I saw some camels. There's some camels on film in this. What do we think? We have kind of a 4 levels: no horses, some horses, lots of horses, all the horses meaning you've kind of lost track. Where do you think that sits, Dave? What do you think?
Some horses.
Some horses. Okay.
Not there. There was definitely horses there, but the point of the film was not the horses. The horses were just there as a prop as much as anything else. They were there for function. Yeah.
How about you, Scott? What are you thinking?
I wrote down no. Not so. I've always seen this as more of a like a 25%, 25%, 20 like kind of thing. And if there was going to be a film we've watched so far where that no horses, I believe almost all these films are going to have horses, except for Hell or High Water probably doesn't, if I remember correctly. But so this would be the closest. I think I counted like 6. Like get some horses, go out there. I have to go get some horses for my brother to go back to town, but they're never like, there rarely is there them on a horse. Like it's that's not the point of the movie. Like Dave was saying, this is not that kind of film. And so I'm going to give it a no.
Okay. We got to know. How about you, Brett?
Oh, this is tough for me because I think there was one scene where they were riding pretty hard, I think when they're all going to see the captain. But it, like you said, there's not that much of a connection with them and the horses. And I think, do I say no?
You can. You can.
Yeah.
Because there were horses, but
obviously,
I guess I'll say no horses.
I think I slightly agree with both of those because I think this story exists whether horses were there or not.
Yes, definitely.
The one time where the horses really are the audience of the show is when they're in the stable and he is stomping him and the horses are rearing and reacting and that's the one time where I kind of think, okay, this is a story that needs horses to exist in that moment. But for the most part, this is a people story. It's a family story. There's interiors. When they're out on the street, it wasn't a ton of horses crossing. I think you could make this movie with no horses and it would still be a Western. I think I'm in the no horses category, even though, like you say, there's some beautiful shots, especially of Guy Pearce riding. There's that beautiful white horse, which as a child, I was obsessed with, like a pure white horse, maybe from the Lone Ranger or whatever. But yeah, I think there's beautiful, beautiful horses. But I think as far as the proposition is a no horse movie.
Well, it's a period. It's a film genre that horses are intrinsic to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That was weird. I feel like it was intrinsic too. Like they're going to be there. There's not. So it's that I think skews the scale a little.
Yeah, and speaking of scales, let's get into ratings. Let's start with Brett. What do you think out of 5? What's your rating for this film?
I'm gonna give it a 4.
All right. Yeah, so it just leaves a little on the table as you watch more Westerns, maybe.
Yeah.
Absolutely. How about you, Dave?
I gave it a 3.5. And I'm doing this, I'm doing it a disservice in doing that because I don't want to watch this movie again.
Yeah.
And that is also part of why it's so good. It's just not a movie that I'm too much of a softie, I guess.
Yeah.
it is what it comes down to. It deserves better than what I'm giving it. And it deserves, even with the awards that you mentioned, it deserves way more than if it had gotten a wider release. I think this thing would have had accolades coming out the yin yang. It was amazing, but I just, it's not a movie for me.
Right. Little raw, little violent, little on the realism scale.
Exactly.
And as a Christmas movie, it would rank pretty low, I think.
Oh, definitely. Definitely. It took place at Christmas, but we're calling it a Christmas movie because why not?
Yeah. All right. How about you, Scott? This is I think you'll be higher than 3.5.
7.5. There's the extra point for Brett, 1.5 for Dave. No, 5. This is when I talked about in Unforgiven, I said in the future, I gave Unforgiven a 4.5 because I'm like, I know I haven't looked 100. I know where my 5 is going. And this is my favorite Christmas film. No, it's our Christmas tradition is crying now. So like
bleeding.
5 easily. Like when
Easy 5.
This is again another line in the sand for cinema for me. The same way I talked about Unforgiven, it changes what a modern Western. And again, when Hell or High Water keeps coming up because it's a Western in the modern sense. I talk about feminism the same way, whereas there's the waves where we change how we look at it. And this is Western. This is the beginning almost of the 3.0 of a Western. We have the heroes, Lone Ranger you brought up and John Wayne, and like we're always the good guys. And then I think Unforgiven went, no, there's a little bit of gray in here. Like let's really start to like not glorify this moment of this time period. And then this one goes, no, let's so my favorite movie is 7, and this is that kind of like to that. It did make me want to watch LA Confidential again as well. But like that movie, there's a Christmas movie that isn't Christmas.
That's a 5-star Christmas movie.
That's a 5-star Christmas movie right there.
Which for some reason I watch every year on Valentine's Day.
I get it.
Yeah, I don't know why, but I think we saw it in the theater on Valentine's Day, and then I just go back to it every. So in my mind, it's a Valentine's Day movie. But
Cameron, what do you got?
I'm going. I think I'm going 3.5 as well. I'm with Dave on this. Where, I think it's so close to a 4. You could probably convince me to make it a 4.
I was really, really tempted in thinking about the positives to bump it up to a 4.
Yeah,
that's out.
I really do think, and I'm only saying 3.5 because I think 3.5 is more than high enough to keep it on this list.
Yeah,
I think 3.5 will put it right kind of where it needs to belong on this list, and I never want to see it come off this list. No. I think as if we're talking Australian movies, it's top tier. It's a 5-star Australian movie. If you're talking, Australian Westerns, it's definitely the best. I think everything it did to change the way Australians are able to tell their stories in an authentic way. I think everything that has come out of it after, the accolades it got, it deserved. I think, Nick Cave and Warren Ellis being considered top composers for the genre is because of this. So definitely, like, it would not, you could push me with a feather to turn it into a 4-star review.
What bumped me up from 3.5 to a 4 was that head explosion part.
It's hit with the spear.
Yeah, seeing the spear go in and the head, it just shocked me so much, and it
comes out of nowhere.
Yeah, it was like, oh my god, like you're just. Yeah, I thought that was.
He's riding along, all of a sudden spear, and then the camera quickly and then it cuts. It fades to black, or it cuts to black
because he passes out. Yeah,
and a couple of seconds there, they're like, live with this, like.
And I think that's the half star that's keeping it away from being a 4 for me and for Dave.
Yeah,
it's so gritty and real and violent, and in a way that I don't crave when I go to the movies. You know, another one I'll talk about in our next segment, Bone Tomahawk, is a straight up, to me, that is a straight up horror movie, because I'm so terrified of scary movies and I really do not watch them. So I think that element of violence and scary, and the flogging that we keep talking about, and the the violence against women and Emily Watson's character in the final scene, it's not an easy watch. It's like, Scott, you even mentioned in the first episode, it's a tough recommendation.
That's why when this one was coming up, I was like, I've been in rooms where I want to be like, no, I like the film. I love films on human condition, where films that strip us down, that say we're not pretending anymore. Danny Houston is a great example, where it's just like, this is who I am. And I hope I never experience these films, but to have them, I want to see films that are happy, and I want to see films that are films that I will never experience, places I may never go in my life. I want to watch
into the world.
I want to watch for experiences I hope I or anyone I know, no one in this world has to go through. But I know that this is, we live in a time where we really are trying to rubber corner a lot of stuff, trying to gloss over our histories, and especially this time, like, it's a land acknowledgement that says, not only are we saying it, but we're showing you why we need this land acknowledgement. Mm-hmm. This is what they did. This is how it went down. Mm-hmm. And every time we gloss over that in our history, we are doomed to repeat it. And so every once in a while, I want to be reminded that, yes, this is what the history was like. I'm not saying it's true based on a true story or anything, but this is what it was like. Mm-hmm. I think one of the reasons the scores on this one might be a little lower is, like you said, but it's how we see the Western genre. Cameron, as you talk about the Western genre, it's very almost romantic in a way, where it's, the long sunset, and you see that in the films you bring up. Dave is the same way. Brett, we just met, but like there's the way you talk about in the films that have been talked about, and for me, I'm like, no, just tell me how it was. Don't sugarcoat it. Just give it to me raw. And let me as an adult deal with this. And that's why this is my 5. Unforgiven did that for me. And I think moving forward on this, we're going to find when they're the like, I love Fievel Goes West. We brought it up twice now, but like that's if Fievel Goes West was real, like real life, I would love that film too. I just love that film. Yeah. You can have happy films in this genre, but every once in a while, Saving Private Ryan, I brought up more than once, because sometimes the World War II, like The Longest Day with John Wayne, is a little glossy over. It's a little like, we are the heroes, those are the bad guys. We're in white hats, they're in black hats. And this is everyone's wearing a gray hat, and you don't know till the end which hat they're going to swap it out for.
Mm-hmm.
And every once in a while, I like that. 7's the same way. If you haven't seen 7, you know the line. But our heroes are also villains, and good people can do bad things, and bad people can do good things.
I'm not changing my number, but I agree with everything you've said there. Like all the reasons why you give it a 5.
I'm changing my number to a 9 because I have to give a 1.5 to Cam now.
Well, that's just it. I do really think that it is a 5-star Western, and it's just for my taste level. And that's one thing I knew, Brett, you would kind of connect with this film too, because it does kind of, I mean, not that you watch exclusively horror movies, but I think that you love those effects and you love that kind of
love that impeding doom feeling that makes me really think about how great my life is. And, you know, when you see the contrast of what's her name at the end, when Mike comes in and, you know, you see her skin's all blown, and then you see how dirty and bloody and disgusting he is, all the flies throughout the film. You're like, I never want to be a cowboy in that time, you know.
No, the flies were enough to keep me out of Australia completely.
When we're talking about Rio Bravo, we talked about there was no time, like there was no, it didn't really tell us that, like the impedance or the bringing of the cavalry. Here they bring it up, you know, 5 days before the hanging, because they're in 5 days we're going to hang you, and like they bring that to you.
There's a ticking clock, that ticking clock makes a big difference on, well, and even to set it 9 days to Christmas, you know, and
no, 9 days to New Year's, I thought.
Oh yeah, maybe 9 days to New Year's. But
I think the flogging
where it's like you're going to be hanged on Christmas Day is so just like deliciously dark and kind of perfect in that sense. Okay, quickly, let's just, we've mentioned some other films from off the list already, but is there anything else kind of off the list things that you could see? I mean, Bone Tomahawk is one we've talked about before. Incredibly scary Western, very visceral and violent and interesting. One I'll champion, even though I'm a bit of a, you know, softy like Dave. You know, definitely one that is so good and tells such a unique, scary story that I'd like to see it on there. Another reason why I gave this 3.5 is to leave room for The Nightingale. As I think Nightingale is a 4-star meat pie Western.
Definitely Assassination. I found it hauntingly beautiful. I think it doesn't get as much love because it is a little long. And I think that's part of it. Is the
this is Jesse James that you're talking about?
Yeah, Assassination of Jesse James by the coward Robert Crawford.
Yeah,
I think that's right. I always get words mixed up in there. But I found that film beautiful as well, and I don't think it's on the list. I believe it deserves to be.
No, it's not, and again, not just because it was shot here, and you know, I had friends that worked on it, but even Roger Deakins, the cinematographer of that movie, sees it as like one of the most beautiful movies he's ever shot. And he said some of those sequences with the train is some of the stuff he's most proud of. Brad Pitt has even said it's one of the movies he's most proud of. And I think the title, and Brad Pitt had it in his contract that you can't change the title. If you want me in this movie, you can't change that title. And I think the title is one thing that makes it a little bit inaccessible for the average person, which is so silly.
I'm pretty sure the train in it, I think it was our Fort Edmonton Park train.
It was,
so you can ride that train here.
It was mostly shot around Calgary, but they went up to Edmonton for a pretty long time. It was a very interesting movie, actually. One of our prop guys, who was very, very handsome, almost could have doubled for Brad Pitt at times. And I think it was such a weird time as far as the paparazzi was concerned. It would be good to do an episode about that, because we could definitely bring in a lot of people that had some wild experiences on that, where paparazzi were hiding in the trees and they had to use this guy, because he looked like him, they had to use him as like a decoy to fool the paparazzi to get Brad into the car so he could get to set. And yeah, it was a very wild one. At the exact same time that was shooting, I was working on another Western called September Dawn. It wasn't great. It's the true story of the Mormon massacre that has been on film a few times. But we had we had Terrence Stamp in that one, but we also had Angela Jolie's father, whose name is escaping me right now.
Jon Voight.
We had Jon Voight in that. So at the same time, Brad Pitt was in town, and he was married to Angelina, and that was a whole paparazzi thing. We had her father on set. He was all concerned about how that was going over there, and it was a whole thing. It was a weird time to be in Calgary. Anyway, that's a great movie. I'll also quickly mention one I put in the intro there, Picnic at Hanging Rock. Not a Western necessarily, but kind of a spooky Victorian period piece. A little bit of supernatural, and really kind of about how brutal the landscape can be. Another one, The Walkabout, is a movie I saw for the first time this year. Another kind of Australian outback, this land is trying to kill you sort of movie. It's very, very good. The only other one I think, other than Mad Max, like, what do you guys think? Does Mad Max, I'm not as familiar with the original as I am with Fury Road, but does that qualify? Is that a Western?
I would say it's not a Western. It's post-apocalyptic. It's there's nothing other than the landscape that would make that, I think, a Western.
Swap the cars out for horses,
then you would have a Western. Then you would then you could argue it's a Western.
Would it not be post-apocalyptic? Would it not be like the new frontier, like say the post?
A lot of Mad Max is the people versus the other people versus the environment, which is a Western. If Jeopardy wouldn't allow you it, but I think I would.
Right. In the same way that I don't think Star Wars is a Western, but it certainly has elements of it.
One thing I'm talking about, maybe making a list of like non-Western Westerns on Letterboxd so that we could like really kind of pepper those in.
Yeah.
Brett, is Mad Max a Western? You can figure this one out for us.
You can settle it for us.
Well, considering that I haven't seen any of them.
Okay.
Even Dave's shocked.
Yeah.
It's been on my list of things to watch for sure. But I can, as you said, swapping out the cars for horses, it kind of would seem to me like a Western, like it's all kind of chaos and it's the outlaws who are fighting each other from what I grasped of the show.
I feel like Mad Max would be a modern, like I talk about the phases. Like if you think about like a John Wayne Western, Mad Max is not a Western.
If we're making this list, it's not on the list, but in spirit,
I think it is. Yeah. Especially Fury Road, which is just 2-hour car chase that starts at 10 and goes to 11. Like it's just yeah.
How about one last one? I'll mention Ravenous. Have you guys seen Ravenous?
So good. He was licking my leg.
Yeah. Have you seen that one, Brad? Ravenous?
No, I haven't.
Not easy to find. Is it also Guy Pearce? Am I wrong?
Guy Pearce.
They're Civil War soldiers.
The dad from Beetlejuice, who we no longer talk about.
Yeah.
It's all sorts. There's a lot of really great people. That's a dark movie.
They're cannibals.
Yeah,
and it's it's like a cannibal Western, female director, very interesting kind of vibe to it. I remember going to a friend's house and he said, "We're going to watch this movie. It's a Western." I was like, "Sweet." I thought it was going to be, Randolph Scott, and it was Ravenous, and it did kind of blow my mind. For someone who doesn't watch, edge of your seat, impending doom type movies, it was a very, very good movie.
And it's a bottle movie too. It's actually really small. Like there's a couple, but like it takes place within this one camp, right? So
Yeah, it's a Civil War fort, you know, and yeah, it's scary, it's spooky.
It's
All right,
it's fantastic, and that's coming from the guy that just gave the proposition of 5. So
like
you gotta do well. Sorry,
What's next?
Sounds like that's right up my alley.
Yeah.
So
It's
I
fun.
guess it's Christmas now, so we're off for a little bit of a Christmas break according to our air dates here, but we'll be back in the new year for number 47 on the list, 2007's There Will Be Blood, directed by Paul Thomas Anderson, starring Daniel Day-Lewis and Paul Dano. It runs 158 minutes. I'm really looking forward to this one. I haven't seen it since the theater. And I do really enjoy Paul Thomas Anderson. I have seen One Battle After Another. Loved it. Very, very cool movie. And generally enjoy Paul Thomas Anderson movies immensely. So this will be an interesting one.
Not just because they're back to back, but wouldn't this one be There Will Be Blood and that one be the proposition?
That one could be There Will Be Oil. Yeah. It's I think oil and cattle ranching and
religion,
gun slinging are kind of all interconnected in this Western. Like oil and the American West are very, very connected. Have you seen that one, Brett?
I actually started watching it the other day and I fell asleep, and I've been waiting to get back into it.
Because I think that would be one that again, I think you'd like the darkness of it, and yeah, it's.
I drink your candy cane milkshake.
Yeah. All right. Well, I mean, let's get into where we are in the world. Let's start with you, Dave. What's your? Where are you? Where can we find you?
You can find me most Sundays on Spill the Geek Tea at Spill the Geek T1, on Tuesdays on The Legend of the Traveling TARDIS, talking about Doctor Who. The first Thursday of every month, along with Cam and Scott on Happiness Patrol, youtube.com/@HappinessPatrolShow. And in between all of that, whenever I get around to it, on my own channel, youtube.com/TheRatHole, That's TheRatHole.ca, but YouTube does not like URLs in their URLs.
Right on. How about you, Scott?
Breakfast Scotch National is where I try to digest this crazy world we live in and try to add some humor to it. Pawn and Pixel, we're going to start up again. We're working on a show that channels video and arcade top 10 for us Canadians.
Nice.
Nice. I'm looking forward to that. We actually just had Dave on. That'll be up by the time you hear this. But that's what I do. I'm on a podcast about Westerns called Horses on Film. You can catch us every 2 weeks. Yeah. Oh yeah. Every once in a while.
Right on, Brett. And Brett, we put your link tree up every episode. But you said you're working on a film right now. And do you have anything that's being released or anything around your world?
I don't have anything on the go other than A Long Winter. But if you want to check out my music, you can find the link on Instagram. My name is, or hashtag is Sour Baileys. So yeah, check it out.
Yeah, get some electronic until you get into your country phase, which is coming next.
Exactly. I think there's a country album coming. So
Garth Brooks meets Daft Punk. I'm looking forward to it.
And Brett, you also got to be in Die My Love, playing a little bit of a country western role.
Yeah. I got to dance right in front of Jennifer Lawrence as she was acting like an animal, and it was a pretty surreal experience. So maybe with A Long Winter, might see another appearance of me.
Ooh, that'd be very exciting.
We'll see.
Right on. All right, yeah, and I'm here, letterbox.com, Cameron Chapman, also letterbox.com, Horses on Film. This is where we're going to put up all our lists, all our rankings, and we'll kind of track our little journey here. You can find this show on letterbox.com youtube.com @ Horses on Film. which is probably where you are now. So I don't know why I even bothered plugging that. If you have any questions or concerns, you can always leave comments there, or you can email us at horsesonfilm@gmail.com. And yeah, I just want to always thank Brett for our beautiful theme song. It's so great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you, Dave and Scott, for being here today. And, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. It's kind of wild to think about out here in the hot Australian outback. But we'll be back in the new year. We'll be back in 2026 with There Will Be Blood. So have a safe and happy holiday, and we'll see you soon.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas all.